Many moons ago, Duke Nukem promised the aliens that he was going to get medieval on their bomb-bombs. I was never sure exactly what he meant by that, but after playing Inkulinati, I do have a fair idea of what he meant. He probably just wanted to challenge them to turn-based battles with medieval-style miniatures, right? Isn't that what people mean by going medieval? Oh well, anyway, let's take a look at Inkulinati's flavor of turn-based battling. So, Inkulinati is a medieval manuscript-based, turn-based strategy game. This is a based opinion, I guess. Ho. Do you really need to know anything more than that? Well, of course I'll tell you. You'll be guiding an army of anthropomorphic animals, based on classic art from around 1,000 years ago, more or less, while trying to remain the last man standing, or, well, I guess the last beast standing, or something like that. There are several types of battles in Inkulinati. The most basic ones are the beast versus beast kind, where you're just going against another army of animals, and yeah, the last animal standing are the ones that won. Or perhaps you have to destroy a lair other times. And there's also the tiny versus tiny battles. But what is the tiny? Well, it's a very small thing. Okay, seriously, the tiny is kind of your manuscript avatar. Basically, it works as your home base, where you make decisions on how to use your ink reserve. Exactly, you have a reserve of ink drops, which you can collect around the manuscript, and they will be used to create, or, well, draw new creatures to fight for you. Your tiny can also use magic or attack other creatures as well, along with pushing them, which is a great move when you want to throw someone off the level. But be careful, because they can do that to you as well. Creatures, of course, can attack and also push other beasts, and they have so many special attacks, such for example as a Devour attack, which allows the snail to eat most enemies in one single gulp, I guess. But you won't be free to manage your creatures on the battlefield as you want, because in most battles, there is the apocalypse, as in real life. So the apocalypse will manifest in several ways, but the basic consequence is this: better hurry or you will die. Well, just like real life, I guess. On the plus side, this also applies to your enemies as well. So anyway, you better not waste too many turns, or chapters, as the game calls them, because yeah, you will lose at one point. And there are so many other things we could talk about, because there's so many things to learn before diving into the game, but everything is covered in an extensive and extremely well made, but still optional, tutorial mode, which I heartily recommend before starting to play. Inkulinati's brilliance doesn't just stop at we use medieval miniatures as characters, which would have honestly already been brilliant, but battles actually take place inside books. And during some of the more fleshed out kind of battles against tinies, you will have the author, usually you, writing a text in typical medieval style, describing the battle much like John Motson in FIFA 97. Oof, that reference makes me real old. Ugh, sorry about that.
Well played, well played.
Anyway, this is nothing short of lovely and amazing, and I also love the ends of the writer, which come in when you're of course drawing other creatures, and also enter the book when you're attacking other creatures. And the ends are also custom made, depending on the character that you're playing as, or yeah, your opponent. I love those kind of details. So each run in Inkulinati adds some flavor of roguelike challenge to it. So not only is each run procedurally generated, but you have the chance of course to unlock new stuff as you progress, and such as creatures and power-ups. And speaking of power-ups, your tiny can collect a set numbers of end powers, which can be used during your chapter. And after you reached your top number of hand powers, you will have to discard some in case you want to collect more. Same with creatures, because only a set numbers can take part in battles, usually around 5 or 6, so yeah, better choose carefully. I could go on and on about the so many little details that make Inkulinati a joy to look at and also a joy to play, but yeah, I think you're better off discovering them on your own. One detail I particularly love is the animals showing their bomb-bombs. See, that's the medieval ass I was talking about. To make their enemies confused. So this is not only a gratuitous, like, kind of ass reference, which of course would have been totally fine. I'm a bit of a hassaholic, I guess. but also does reference a certain tendency of medieval artists to use kind of animals, and humans of course, showing their asses to ridiculize people that they didn't particularly like. So yeah, it makes sense with the time period, and it's also fun to look at. What more do you want? Inkulinati is a wonderful little gem of turn-based strategy experience. While probably I would have liked to see a little more of a story, as there is not much beyond, yeah, you have to save your master in the original run, and then once you complete that you get access to more runs. But there is a lot of content which will keep strategies fans happy. It's also accessible enough, I think, to attract non-fans' attention. There's a very well-made tutorial which covers everything you need to know about the game's mechanics. Voxel Smash gives Inkulinati a 9 out of 10. This is my personal stamp of medieval recommendation, because Inkulinati is a great way to immerse yourself in medieval times without all the risks and the being burned at the stake and all that nasty stuff, with accessible but still complex enough gameplay mechanics, wonderful medieval graphics, and so much content to explore. Get ready to get medieval. Not the 90s game, I mean okay, whatever. Yeah, this is a good game,